Uh, yeah. 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 Yo, what's going on, everyone? For the last time this season, for the last time this year, before we have a weird World Cup that's cutting off everything, I'm joining you as your host, Elliot Barr, and joining me are two guys that had to watch some amazing soccer over the weekend that are fortunate in that include our beloved Richmond Kickers. It's Matt and Shanair. How are you guys doing?
I wouldn't say amazing.
Sir, we
There
had
was
an
some
amazing MLS Cup final.
that okay, yeah, that one I would say stood out crazy. That was insane.
Yeah, some good soccer. Some good
Oh,
soccer.
and yeah, okay. I guess there was some amazing soccer because I was jumping up and down on the couch with the Leeds game.
See? Crazy soccer.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
Also, the guy that was wishing for chaos and death among teams is Mr. Matt.
I mean, that's not unique. That's
I think the only guy that was openly rooting for Chattanooga just to watch the world burn.
yeah. I mean, if I don't get happiness, why does anybody else? Right? Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
had that.
That just
Well,
reminds me right now of like the evil doctor who's just sitting there eating a bag of popcorn and is like, you know what, I'm just gonna root for the most amount of chaos and just let it play out. How it happens.
yeah. I mean, nice thing is I really didn't care either way. Let's be real. I was rooting for 2020 run back and nice little COVID outburst down in Statesboro, Georgia. Seems like a likely spot. It could have happened. But no, wasn't to be.
Oddly enough, you saying that is the same place where Walking Dead took place at. Would have been very weird if we got that outbreak again.
Takes place in a place where a whole hell of a lot of people tomorrow are going to root for CTE Herschel Walker, to be an elected official. Yeah, I don't trust those people.
Yeah. By the way, folks, take time to vote tomorrow if you listen to this podcast. Or you listen to this podcast, make sure you go vote.
Maybe not if you have terrible opinions, though.
Yeah, that too. Maybe not that. Well, guys, this is probably the pod that we look forward to the most. Well, I do, because it's always the funnest episode. Outside of the podcast. Well, no, preseason podcast is maybe the funnest because that's when my optimism is at its highest. So this is a close second. But we have our postseason wrap-up show where we talk about everything that happened during this year, our favorite moments, our saddest moments, things that we wish for next year. We start off here at this moment. But before we get to that, we have a couple of awards to get through, and a couple of kickers won a couple of awards. So let's start off with your Young Player of the Year. Mr. Ethan Bryant won Young Player of the Year. Are you guys shocked by this? Were you guys kind of certain it was going to be his award, given that he didn't make neither one of the USL League teams?
I wasn't surprised when I saw who the finalists were. Looking at Omar Sith from Charlotte and Jibba from Union. You look at Ethan's season, especially the second half of the season, and it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer when you look at his performance and how he has literally been the catalyst for this team in the second half of the season in terms of the control of the midfield. He really took that number 8 spot and made it his own, and basically is literally was playing like a maestro out there. for the second half of the season. So it's for me, it's a no-brainer between those three finalists to win the Young Player of the Year award.
Yeah, so, I mean, it seemed pretty much like a lock once you saw the nominees. I think that's one of the benefits of the MLS2 teams being out of the picture now is that you don't have to worry about the 16, 17-year-old hot shots where the league's going for kind of future clout recognition over actual production at times. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much more there is to say about it. Chenier said it pretty well.
Yeah, no, I mean, when this award got announced, and I think you said it like Chenier, like it kind of seemed like a no-brainer. It does feel very on brand for the league to be like, oh, we're going to give it to Omar Assis because he's in the USL Team of the Season over Ethan Bryant, which made no sense. But I mean, I'm neither here nor there. But yeah, happy for him to win it. I did say this on Twitter: if he stays next year, I'm definitely putting Ethan Bryant in my MVP voting in my MVP race next year.
Yes. Even though speaking generally, it's very hard for a player that's further away from goal than the 10 to win the MVP.
I mean, I know the league wouldn't do it, but me personally, I would be like, yo, he would be up there.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, for me too. I mean, if he plays anything like he did the second half of this season, he's definitely in the running. Yeah. I'm keeping fingers, toes, arms, legs crossed to see if we can hang on to him because the kid is quality.
Oh yeah, he's quality.
At the end of the day, the kid is quality, and he's the type of player you can build a team around. As young as he is, with the way he plays and the way he controls the midfield, you can build a team around him.
Oh yeah, 100%. But I will also say this: if DC United want to back up that Binks truck, I'm all fine with it.
Of course, I mean, he's got to look out for number one first.
Yeah, I will sell my happiness if it means DC United is willing to give us money. And the way how that organization is being ran, whew. Ted, if you're listening to this, I hope the best for you, buddy. I'm sorry you have to do that's on you. We move on to the award that came out, I think on Thursday. Am I doing my math right? Yeah, Thursday. Darius Woski win Coach of the Year over Ian Cameron and Jim Weekly. Not gonna lie to you, when this announcement came out, it took me about 6 minutes to realize the league did not get this wrong. Because I did not have Darren winning it, and I love Darren. And I'm pretty sure Darren, the next time he's gonna see me and look at me and be like, so you ain't have me a Coach of the Year? They're like, no, Coach, I didn't.
Well, I didn't either, but I absolutely felt he deserved it. But we know how USL behaves. So based on how USL 1 behaves, I was like, they're not going to give it to him. Even though he's supposed to get it, they're not going to give it to him. But they actually got it right. They actually picked the correct coach and didn't go for the money grab or the clout or
money grab. What's the money grab in USL 1 coaching, please?
When I say money grab, I mean the term more figuratively. But I mean, let's go for. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if John Harkes won it again or something. Like it's just an issue of they go after clout so much, but they actually got this one right. They picked the coach who had the most, whose team won the league, played the most exciting soccer, and performed on the field. And week in, week out, made the changes he needed to make in order to make a difference, game in and game out. It's a no-brainer that he should have won it, but USL League One being USL League One, I'm surprised they got it right.
Well, I will say this. Hey, Matt, my fault. Did I cut you off? You ready to say something or anything? Okay. I will say this. For instance, they usually give it to the coach who wins the regular season award. It's been given to the coach who wins the regular season. The reason why I didn't think Darren was going to win it is because, one, he didn't get to the final, and I felt like the league was going to hold it against him and be like, oh, we're going to give it to the two coaches that are in the final. It's going to be between them. And then he has not won a coach of the month this entire year. So the list for coach of the month went like this. It went, hold on, where's the list at? Yeah, here it is. It went Ian Cameron, John Bradford, John Harkes, Ian Cameron, Jay Mims, John Perman. And I was really like, all right, it's got to be Ian. Like, he took a team from 11th. And look, I know South Tormenta put a lot of money into this team this year. It's kind of like low-key, they went all in this year. Like, this is the year they went all in on. But he took this team from 11th place last year to a top 3 team and getting their first home playoff game. I would have thought it would be him. I did.
Well, here's the thing. I think this is the reason why they didn't give it to Ian. It's like, why were you 11th? At the point you were, and it's not like, oh, after the first 3 games they had a rough first 3 games and they were in 11th. No, it was like almost halfway through the season they were 11th. Like,
no.
Why were you
11th last year? Not this year. Last year, like, he took that team from 11th place to the top 3. This year they were.
They bounced around a lot.
They're always middle of the pack this year.
Yeah, they were middle of the pack. And then, over the last 2 months, they heated up. But it was just like, okay, like, I could have just seen the league giving it to him because it just seemed like he was going in that direction. And I wanted to
I think an element you need to look at is Darren's consistency.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, he's been consistent. Like, I think he's had
all season. And that's the thing. All these other coaches, even including Ian, have had their ups and downs all season. Darren has literally been on a straight line track.
I mean, we said it before. Like, it's like every time you think Darren's about to win Coach of the Month, another coach has had like a crazy month. Like Perman, the end of the year, Mims in August. Like, it's just like another coach just had like a crazy month. So it was like, all right, well, Darren's not gonna get it.
I mean,
but he won the big award. He has that in the regular season trophy.
Yeah, we're gonna get into a debate about an award. Let's get to the good one, rather than try to talk about Tormenta. I don't care about them.
And then the award right? The MVP award. I don't know why I struggle with that. They gave it to Mr. Emiliano Terzaghi. He is the first person ever in American soccer to win 3 MVP awards back to back to back.
Yeah.
And once again, I would have lost my house because I had my money on Bolaños getting this.
Yeah, I was a little. I was surprised. I thought Johnny was going to win it. Too. If you read the article, I want to know. Just for transparency's sake, I want to know who actually votes on these things.
So it's technical staff, from what I've been seeing. And
then there's multiple people who need to have their voting revoked, because how on earth does Arthur Rogers get 17% of the vote in that case? There's no world where that dude is the MVP of the league. Like, I don't mind Emmy winning. I really don't. He still deserved, and I think the best case, to make in Emmy's favor is look at that Madison game where we clinched. He wasn't there for that game. Did you see how our offense worked without him there? Yeah. Side note, it didn't work that game at all. Like, it's a little rougher without Bolaños, but functional enough. There are players who could step in and replace him. We've 3 years running now without a real Emmy replacement.
Yeah,
even at an okay level.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Matt. Because is he replaceable? That's the question. Like, with the numbers that he's put up over the past 3 years, is he replaceable? Like, can you find someone who can give you as close to that, even close to that level of productivity in front of goal?
I mean, give me half. For a backup, give me half.
Exactly.
And I don't think we have seen that yet.
Yeah.
So I think that's the real benefit of him. I mean, obviously there's the goals, which I think a lot of us can kind of recognize as probably a big driver of why he received the award, because it's really easy to look at the big counting stat and value that so much more than the second counting stat of assists, where Bolaños led the charge by a significant margin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It just felt like it was made for. It just felt like it was really made for Bolaños and whatnot to get it this year, just because of the year that he was having and whatnot. It's like, I mean, we're gonna talk about it later, but like impactful, those meaningful moments. And I say Amy doesn't have it, but it just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just so taking it so hard because I really thought it was going to be Bolaños' award.
I mean, I think
well, another thing is, I honestly think the people that are voting for these awards are simply looking at numbers. They're not looking at more than just numbers, because what Bolaños has done for the Kickers this season can't be quantified by numbers. And I think that's the problem. The team looks completely different with Johnny not playing. He's electrifying on that left side. I think he probably has almost every single right back in the league in his pocket now. Like he has of course USL League One isn't at that level of clout, but if he were playing at the level of, let's say, MLS or La Liga, he would have ended some careers with the way he was cooking people on that left side.
I'd say it's a lot more likely to end people's careers in League One than guys at that level.
Well, no, because those guys at that level. Here's the thing: guys at that level aren't. I mean, somebody getting their ankles broken in League One isn't going to break Twitter the way someone getting their ankle broken in the Premier League or Champions League or MLS is.
No, I get what you're saying. I'm going completely literal. Like,
oh yeah, well,
you get ripped here. Where else you going? Nisa. I mean, that might as well be your career over.
Yeah, basically
it is. So you could literally end careers. Here I'm thinking back to Shorty on Omaha that he just absolutely scorched.
Oh. Yeah. So and those types of things, there's no number to really portray that. You know what I mean?
I think the other thing that hurt Bolaños, and I mean, it's killing me, making these cases. But I'm trying to balance it out to back up Emmy a little bit. Is he did miss a third of the year?
Yeah, and that's true. That's true. Missed a third of the year, and Matt, you always talked about it, like missed a number of one-on-ones. Like I feel like
I'm not even worried about that. There's no chance other people.
No. I'm just saying, like if he scores those, right? My bad. Like if he scores those and whatnot, it just makes the overall case against him looks even better. Like, hey, like he has double-digit goals, double-digit assists, even though he missed a third of the season, and he still produced like this. Like, that's all.
If you put a double-double in this league, I gotta think they're a slam dunk, MVP.
But no, like
isn't god awful.
Oh yeah, no. But also, like 100% credit to Emmy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like this man's been on a 3-year stretch where he's arguably been the best player in the league.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because I remember we were thinking at the beginning of the season that he might not win the Golden Boot because we have so much quality on the team that the goals would be spread out. And they have been more spread out this year than they normally have. And he still wins the Golden Boot. So that's that is something in his favor with regards to consideration.
It just seems like every challenge you put in front of this man was like 2020. It was like, all right, can he do it again? Yes. All right. 2021. Then the challenge became like, well, if the team is more spread out with more scores and whatnot, can he do it again? Yes. 2022. Then it became, well, he can't do it for a third time, can he? Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, the last 2 years it was Emmy or bust, and this year it wasn't necessarily.
No, it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah,
It
and
wasn't, and it's still,
the other thing that works in his favor is it's not a stat piece, but I mean, you ask fans of any other team in this league, like who's the player you're afraid of? It's pretty much always Emmy because you hear talking to people like if he gets on the ball in the box, scared to death that it's going to be an instant goal.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else has that level of fear, respect, depending on perspective, built up yet.
Yeah, no. Hey, what? I think he needs 7 more goals to get to 50?
He's already at 45 league goals.
45. Okay. I didn't know if it was 45 or 43. So he needs 5 more. Okay. Yeah,
Oh
so
my
5
gosh.
more to get to 50.
So if he's not going anywhere, he's getting 50.
I mean,
because there's no way he's scoring less than 5.
Yeah, man, if he's not going anywhere, he's chasing Rob down.
Yeah. Let me ask y'all this, man, before we move on to our awards that really matter. Over under. I'm gonna set the over under at 10 for when Emmy breaks 50. Are you going over or under?
What, 10 game?
What?
Game 10?
Yeah, 10 games for him to get to 50.
Go over.
Over. What you got, Chenier?
Yeah, say over because I know it may seem like it has nothing to do with it, but when you look at the type of person Darren is, he's going to be busy this offseason. And I think he's going to build a squad that is really going to create goal threats from as many places as possible. So I think Terzaghi will next season, even though he'll never be that, but I think he will be a little bit closer to a luxury because of the players that Darren acquires. He will be one of those guys that's like, oh yeah, if we need a pop in the goal, Emmy's going to put it in. But other than that, we have players who can do it now. I don't think Darren ever sits on his laurels. Like he's not going to be like, oh yeah, well I won the league. Well, let's see what we can do next season. No, he's going to be like, no, we're going to build an even better squad next year. Like I think that's his goal. So unless he leans on Terzaghi as like, we're going to create a team around you that is going to literally make it easier for you to score. Basically, are we going to turn you into Erling Haaland or are we going to turn you to a where you've got Neymar and Messi around him creating and doing and scoring goals as well, so you're not going to get as much from it. So it's a tough one for me, but I think I'm going to go with over as well.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm going to under. I think if he gets it at 8, if he get this 50, if we keep it pushing.
Over also hedges against the really bad answer, but yeah.
Yeah. So hey, congrats to Emmy getting his 3rd MVP, man. Yep. I mean, there's literally nothing this man hasn't won yet. Well, outside of the one trophy that really matters. But he's done everything else. Like his profile is solid, and we just lost him here. He'll come back though. But Matt, we move on. USL did something really cool. Well, the USL Players Association did something really cool. They signed a CBA. So, real quick, I'll read off what the CBA is. Pretty much now and correct me if I'm wrong, man, because you're probably better at explaining this, but like now the players have like a fundamental like tool when negotiating like contracts, where they stay at, air travel, medical leave, things like that, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it's so League One got their own CBA. The Championship had one previously. So as part of the USL Players Union, now there's going to be a lot more codified elements in their contracts. Minimum compensation. Family leave. If something happens. Quality of travel accommodations. Injury care, things like that. So it's player protection, just like any other union situation would be. Workers' rights getting protected. Here, great that the league was able and willing to be able to play along with all of this. You would hope that this isn't going to be like a radical change for the players, and that the guys are being taken care of already. But it'll set floors at the very least.
Yeah. And also, our very own Vincenzo Candela is on the board, along with Andre Wheeler, Nanu, and Keelan Fox. They were pretty much the bargaining committee for this. So shout out to Candela, man, for being a part of this and getting this through, because it was good to see it happen for championship players, but like lower league players and whatnot. And you hope like this only does nothing but just set a good precedent for future negotiations and things like that in the future. If I can find the chart, I think there was like a layout of like what the here it is. So
we can post that out later on.
Yeah, I found it. All right, so I'll post that out later on. But I mean, they're getting paid, so that's a good thing about it. Moving on, we've got a new ticket thing dealing with SeatGeek. So people in the Red Army have already been talking about it, seem pretty upset, but I'm not gonna lie. I hope it's better than the system that we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt, were you buying tickets like that?
I buy my season ticket and then just download them individually. The only other ticket I bought was Open Cup game and playoff game.
Okay. Yeah. So I was buying them, dude. What was it? Was it Chanel Fizo?
Fivo, yeah. I mean, you still had to use that to get the season tickets and everything downloaded. And it's a little bit of a pain, but I mean, hopefully this SeatGeek infrastructure works better.
Yeah, hopefully so. But there's already 5 teams that's already using Charleston Battery, Colorado Springs, Hartford, Louisville City, and New Mexico United. And there's going to be 5 additional teams this year that are going to use it. We're one of them, of course. FC Tulsa, Detroit City, Lexington, who's coming into USL League One next year, Monterey Bay, and, well, of course, us Richmond Kickers. So SeatGeek seems to be the way of how things are going to be going. Hopefully it all works out smoothly. And fingers crossed. I think I did see John talk about it, that the fees and whatnot, but I don't know how that's going to look right now at this moment in time. So
deal with it later.
Yep, that's a 5-month me problem, not right now me problem. All right, so guys, we move on to the best part of the show, where now we get to talk about our favorite players. So we start off first with defensive MVP. Guys, who do you have as your defensive MVP?
Jalen.
Okay, we got a Jalen. Any reason why on Jalen, Shanair?
Consistency, leadership, just the presence that he brings in the back. I don't know if Jalen this season ever had like a bad game. I can't think of any game where he was singled out as like, oh, he had a bad game. And you usually get a few of those as a center back because of it's the nature of the beast of being a center back. But Jalen has been consistent all year long.
He had that one game where he kind of forgot which team he was playing for.
I mean, this man he scored 2 goals this year. He also has 2 own goals this year. I love Jalen.
Well, own goals is the fleas that come with the dog of being a center back. To be honest with you, I mean, you are the most likely to score an own goal on the field.
Stop. What did you just say?
Yeah, no, he said. Yeah, that's what he said.
You said that's the fleas of being a dog. What? Say
No,
that again.
the fleas that come with the dog.
Shaneer, have you ever heard another person say that, or did you just make that up on the spot?
Oh, I've heard that. That's a very common saying.
I don't know about common.
I've heard it many times from many people.
What?
It's the fleas that come with the dog. It's the negative that comes with something. It's the bad. It's the lot you get by being a center back. You are out of all players on the field the most likely.
Heard that exact terminology used before.
Go take your dog to the groomers, bro.
Oh no, he's good. He's good.
Moving on from this, I'll throw into Akira for this. You know, he was the constant in the back. He was able to keep things organized. Throughout the year, we talked plenty of times about all the saves that he made, and a lot of it was because of good organization, good positioning. So made his life a lot easier. He definitely had some of those games. The first game in Madison where he single-handedly kept the team afloat for a while. So yeah, I'll throw Akira a vote on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Stephen Payne, man. One, he came in and did something useful at that right back spot after what we had last year, which was a rock back there. Contributed well offensively, was sturdy in the back defensively. Outside of the 19 minutes that he played against Fuego in that very first game, the man didn't have a bad game. He did it. And I'm going to be real with you. Like, if Arthur Rodgers can get in the MVP voting for the league, so can Stephen Payne. The guy did great on that job. Like, for as far up as he was playing, he was never out of position. He tracked back well. Yeah,
that boy's got an engine on him.
Yeah, he was solid, man. Definitely my favorite. So 3-way split there. 3-way split there. We'll go with that. So we move on now to offensive MVP. So Shaneer, we'll start with you again, sir.
You just rewind this episode back like 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go back to MVP like that. So I think it's all safe to say we got Emmy
and Bolaños.
Yeah. Anyone else you guys want to give a nod to, or?
I mean, there's guys who had flashes, throughout the year. I think, Owain
Bentley had a great start to the season.
Bentley, had his, moments in there. Neil had his moments in there, but season long, there's only the 2 names that can seriously be considered here.
Yeah, and it really did feel like it felt like those 2 were on a different level to everyone else. Yeah. Even like the guys on their own team, like they just felt like they were at a totally different level of playing, which is not a bad thing.
No.
So, all right.
Well, finish.
I'll give it to Bolaños.
You going Bolaños? Shaneer, who you got?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I'm going Bolaños too. For me, it's an issue of Bolaños gave you more than just the end product. He was more entertaining. Like in terms of what he did on the field it stood out. It stood out. And Emmy is a scoring machine, but I'm sorry, Bolaños is what he's performed all year.
Yeah, I'll give it to him too. Despite the fact that our system actually gave the show MVP to Emmy for the year, but again, that's probably injury influenced pretty heavily.
Yeah. But I mean, like, also I would give it to Bolaños just because of the fact of, like, you know what you're getting out of Emmy, right? You know,
I mean, that's a little unfair to Emmy. Like,
no,
not give it to him because we already know he's good.
No. I'm not doing that just because I know he's good or not. I'm saying it because of, like, the thing that we were saying about Bolaños is we want Bolaños to take that next step, and he did that.
Mm-hmm.
He took that next step. So, you know, hey, I want to reward you for it. Here you go. So, also he's leaving.
Yeah. Well,
I'm trying to weasel my way in to believe Bolaños' agent, so when he signs this mega deal and start playing for the Colombian national team, I could just say, like, hey, I just want to say on this 2020 podcast, I said he was about this life. So, like,
don't think I don't have pictures still stashed on my phone of me and Matt Turner in the stands after an away game together.
Right, he just like, hey, slide this here.
Couple weeks that that could be some clout chasing right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, just a few. It'll give it a few weeks.
Yeah, just throw that out there. All right, we move on to this one. We got biggest surprise of the year. So this is pretty much because that's describe it as the moment that surprised you the most.
It could be the moment. It could be the player. It could be whatever you want it to be.
It could be whatever you want it to be. Biggest surprise of this year. So, Matt, we'll start with you, sir.
All right. You're gonna laugh because you already give me crap about this all the time. It's Simon for me. I thought he was going to be a practice player. I thought he was making out the numbers when he got signed. Like maybe he'd make it on the bench every now and then. And he came in and he balled out. Or like he had a rough start of the year. By the end of the year, nobody was worried about it if you saw fixture on the team sheet at all. So far and away, my surprise of the year is the level that Simon was able to give us and the quality contribution he put forward.
Yeah. Chenier, what about you, my man?
For me, surprise of the year, I would say, I know this is going to be very niche, but the amount of goals we scored from outside the 18. I was not expecting us to hit that many. I mean, Ethan Bryant had a couple. Neil had a couple. I think Bolaños hit one or two. And it's like, oh, wow, we're actually shooting from outside the 18. This is very new for us Kickers fans to witness. So, yeah, that's my biggest surprise.
Okay, that's not bad. For me, I go with Richmond's road form. That was the biggest surprise to me because that was a sticking point for me last year. And I think at our mid-season show, I literally asked, I was like, just go above 500. Like, just be decent on the road. And they did more than that. Mm-hmm. They were actually really good on the road.
Yeah, I wonder if that stupid talking point, is going to disappear finally of, oh, well, Richmond's terrible on the road. Richmond's terrible on the road. Yeah, who had the second most points on the road all year?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, definitely so. Like, that was the biggest surprise to me. Just like, I was like, oh, snap. Like, Richmond's really doing it. And they showed later in the year when we had to clinch those points away from home to get a home playoff game and be the number one seed. You don't do that without being good on the road. So, hey, the road form surprised me the most. Next, we move on to the one that's going to be a little bit sad. Biggest letdown of the year. Who wants to start?
I think for me, the biggest letdown of the year, and it isn't even the player's fault, is EVD with that injury that just completely killed that. I'm like, that was, to me, was the biggest letdown because I was looking at it like, yo, we literally have 5 guys who can play in that front 3 line. We're just going to be rotating them and have fresh bodies up there all the time, plugging away at trying to score. And then that, what EVD brought was a physicality to our front line that I didn't see too much from the other players. Bentley a little bit, but EVD was, he was the guy who you knew that if there was going to be a physical battle with him, he was going to win it, even with a center back. Like he was a tough guy. He is a tough guy, and to see him go down with that injury, at season-ending injury, that was just a big letdown for me.
Okay.
That's interesting. That wasn't even on my board, but that's not a bad answer.
No, it's not.
What do you got, Elliot?
I'm
trying to decide which one I'm going with.
Okay. For me, it's pretty much our record against our rivals. Our two quote unquote biggest rivals, Fort Madison, Greenville. I think we only had one win against them all year.
I mean, it's kind of a nice one.
I mean, yes, it was a great one, that one win, but got not swept by Greenville, but a disappointing draw the last game there, and then the 2 losses, and then Fort Madison, the disappointing games there. It was just like, I don't know, it was kind of just like a sore spot for us in those 2 rivalry games. Definitely handed over the Henny Trophy back over to Fort Madison, and them trying to gout as if like winning the Henny Derby is more important than winning the league. Priorities, guys. Priorities.
Probably.
I mean, it's wild.
Well, I could. Well, for them, it probably is because they know they're never going to win the league.
This is also true.
Yeah, it's wild that unqualified successful year, that it was. There's a good number of options, for, this question. So like we've already had 2 right, here, and I had a little bit of a thought about maybe saying like the second half of the Charlotte Open Cup game, because we hit that high of Zaka scoring and then it just deflated immediately and fell apart there. But I think it's got to be the obvious answer of the playoff game. Big hot crowd in there, lots of positive momentum, lots of energy everywhere, and that happened.
Yeah.
And not just that it happened the way that it happened too. The gut punch, at the very end. I think people really believed, and people were excited about the prospect of hosting the championship game, and it's a gut punch.
Yeah, no, that's a gut punch that when time is removed from this game, like 10 years down the road, we're still going to be thinking back on it and be like, yo, you remember that game? Just like, damn, yeah, I remember it. But hopefully by then we have like 10 titles to our name and we're celebrating and bathing in champagne every night.
Yeah, you always remember the hurt more than the good, though.
Yeah,
that's true. Because and this one hurts because first off, the time in the game.
We don't need to revisit all that
again. No,
we don't
need to talk about it here. You don't need to bring it back up. You probably already said that. You probably lost 5 listeners just because of that. I don't want
to. Give us a happy topic for the next one.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
So move on to moment of the season. So this can be that moment where the season changed, the moment that stands out to you the most, the moment that defined the season. Matt, we'll start with you, my friend.
I mean, there's a lot of really good ones.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm going to go with Kickers 3, Omaha 2. Because there's another one very similar, that you can pick. I wouldn't be surprised if one of you all, says, but that was, basically at that point in the year, us in Greenville and Omaha were kind of all just, in that same mix, for the top couple spots. Omaha still was working through their games in hand and all that, so it wasn't a perfect match. But we're going into Omaha with their really garbage baseball field. There really shouldn't play into the Kickers' favor with how expansive they like to play on the field. Garbage first half of a game. Give up a penalty early, in the second half, and just kind of plodding along. Get it back, give it back not too long thereafter, seems like, oh crap, well, losing at Omaha, not the end of the world, but not a great feeling at that point.
Yeah.
Get a fullback to fullback connection, for a goal in the 89th minute to tie it up, and then get the blessings of absolute idiocy on Omaha's behalf again, because appreciate the not marking EVD at all on the first equalizer.
Which is that? I opened that baby
At all.
So stupid.
And get a penalty in stoppage time. Neal just roofs it into the top corner. Big old fun celebration there, because that was the moment that the Kickers took first place, never let it go again.
Yeah. Shanir, what about you, my man?
Yeah, that was the game for me. That was it. That was the moment, that game against Union. And because I think for the longest before then, it was like a straight grind between us and Greenville. And we were looking, and I was just looking at the table. I kept looking at the table and week in, week out, and being like, yeah, and Union Omaha are in third, but they have like 5 games in hand. So they're really going to win the league. Because like it had gotten to the point where you were just looking at Union Omaha in second and third, and it was like, and they got 4 games in hand, and they got 5 games in hand. So if they win 3 of those 5 games, they're on top of the league with like a 6-point cushion. And it just got to that point where at that game, when that went down the way it did, that's when it turned around and things looked completely different. We got to the top of the league, and the amount of games in hand Union Omaha had were dwindling, and they were falling behind. And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh my goodness, that's what we needed. That was the win that's going to literally turn all of this around.
Yeah. For me, I have 2 that are very close to my heart. I would say the moment that I define this season by is the 3-2 win over NCFC, where you had Emmy's late goal and then Dakota's late goal. And that was the moment for me when I was like, oh, this team's got it in them. This is the team that's like, all right, I don't have to worry about playoffs. And it was something about that. I don't know. It kind of just felt like that moment where the monkey was more or less off our back at that moment. Like, you can see this team was just playing with a whole different energy and swagger about them, because up to that moment, I mean, now granted, a couple of weeks before that, we beat NCFC at home 4-1, but I think the knock I had against this team was like, all right, can they do it on the road? And that's the moment that showed to me they can do it on the road and they can win on the road. And ever since that moment, we've only lost one other road game. Now, granted, that game was against Greenville, that 1-0 loss in the 89th minute. But outside of that, these guys didn't lose on the road. And I think that was like the pivotal moment where everyone looked around each other and was like, yo, we can do this.
Yeah.
We got this.
After that Greenville loss was the only loss the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, that was the only loss the rest of the season. Rest of the regular season. So, yeah, I think this close second, and I wish, oh, my God, man, I wish I could have been there just to take photos. But clinching the league title at Ford Madison's Field, that's a sweet moment to me.
Oh, man.
Granted, look, we already went into the game knowing like the Henny Derby was theirs. But we knew when and clinch at home at Fort Madison, I think at that point
I think they were already done.
No, I think they were done the next week. Were they? Yeah, they were already done. So they had nothing to play. You're right, man. They had nothing to play for. And the fact that we came in there and won that game, oh man, that was sweet.
I mean, the IG, stories coming out of the locker room after that.
Oh man, the Supporters Cup being a foam roller and like Luke Pavone almost getting exposed. Yeah, that was sweet times. Sweet times. That was a good moment for us. I really enjoyed. So next we move on to overall season grade. What did you guys grade for the season? Where we going? For me personally, I'll go A-.
Yeah, that's what
I was about to. Yeah, I was about to say an A-.
Okay.
I mean, I give it an A-, and it's not because we bowed out in the semifinals. I give it an A- for there were a couple of games here and there that I felt that they kind of lost their form and dropped the ball a little bit, but it was very brief. So that's why I give it an A-.
Yeah, I mean May wasn't good.
Yeah, May wasn't.
You know, like literally, I think dead on average. You know, for the first couple months of the season until Bolaños came back, and yeah, it would have been an A if advanced even one round in the playoffs, but hard to look past the final exam.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of in line with you. Like, I give it an A-. Just those little dips and forms. For me, it would have been an A, but our form in those rivalry games against Greenville, Fort Madison kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I think the only way I could give the year an A+, you know, if we did everything we still did and won the USL championship, then USL League One title, I would have given it an A+. But A- isn't bad.
Yep.
A- isn't bad. All right, so now we move on to the next one. Personal favorite player of the year. So, guys, who is your personal favorite player of the year? The player you will buy a beer for. Like, I bought Austin Cosby the other night. He's not my personal favorite, but I bought him a beer.
Oh, well, that's harsh. That's mean.
Well, hey. I mean, oh, dang, that did sound harsh. Sorry, Austin. Who do you guys have?
I'm caught between two players. I can't decide between two.
We'll let you cheat on this one.
Okay. They're Johnny B and Ethan Bryant. Bolaños, because I mean his form and the way he basically was a major part of almost all of our attack. And Ethan just, I mean, growing up, when I was playing soccer as a kid, I was always the 8. I was always center mid. I always liked to be in the thick of it, in the middle of the action, pulling the string. And just seeing how well that boy can control the game at such a young age, he shows such a level of maturity. It's just awesome to see. And then there was I think it was the last home game, the last regular season home game, the last game of the season, where, I mean, the game is tense. We're hanging on for a win, and Ethan just with the cool as a cucumber in the middle of the field. The defender comes barreling towards him, ball comes, he just flicks it over his head with ease. I was like, oh my God, the swagger on this boy. So yeah, those two. It's hard for me to decide between Johnny B and Ethan.
Okay. For me, I will go Zaka.
Really?
Yeah, I will go Zaka. Like, man, there were so many games where Zaka's like really quiet in the midfield, but like destroying wise and like bringing up play, I love watching him in the middle of it. He does such a great job of. He does such a great job of like just roaming and patrolling back there, but he's always in the right spot at the right moment. You know, like his defensive awareness to me is amazing. How well he just patrols back there, and he does such a good job back there that it opened up Ethan and Neil to do what they do best, and that's just great. So I go with Zaka.
I would have bet the house that you would have said either Payne because not Calvo or
Close
Luke.
second. Close second.
Yeah. Or Luke. I figured that was
your real answer. Luke would
always be in my heart, but you know, Luke didn't have any moments like he did in other years, so I couldn't go.
Nothing to do with moments. It's just to do with favorite.
Yeah, I know, but this year Zaka was my favorite. Like Zaka just dude's consistent. Like, what was the
Yeah.
game? The Union game, the one we won 3-0. I will point to that game and tell everyone just watch Zaka Moran in that game.
Zaka Moran is the reason. Zaka in that game made the back line's job so easy.
It was the perfect performance, dog. Like it was perfect. Like I was like, bro, that's how a CDM is supposed to play. Yeah. But who you got, Matt?
I mean, I think I go Donny Bolaños. I mean, he was fun to watch.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
It was always exciting when the ball got out there to him. It's a good time.
Yeah, no, like, hey, he was the guy that when all the cities, you knew City Stadium was standing up when he was on the ball. It was cool.
Oh yeah,
It was a fun moment. All right, so now we go down to our roster breakdown. So, Matt, can you take over for a second while I pull up this roster?
Yeah,
give the listeners something.
Yeah, so I think what we're going to do now is a very, very quick version because we've already been going on for forever in a day. There's more categories to go. I think we're just going to run down the roster of, do we think they're going to be here in Richmond? Do we think they're going to not be here in Richmond for 2023? Is that about right?
Yeah, pretty much. That works. All right.
You got it up?
Yes, I do. All right, folks, here we go. First of all, we're starting off with the goalkeeper. So let's start off with Mr. Austin Causey, who I already talked about because I bought him drinks. Because he's over the age of 21. I was not buying illegal drinks for people. Not doing that. So, Austin Causey, stay. We'll do stay, leaves, or loan in special circumstances. So, what do you guys think for him?
Say he's going to move on somewhere where he can play.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. As much as it'd be awesome if he could stay, but for nostalgia's sake. But I mean, if he wants to get playing time, he's got to go somewhere else.
I think he stays one more year.
All right.
I think he stays one more year. That's just me, though. I think he stays one more year. So now we move on to Mr. Eli Mumford. What do you guys think of this one?
Yeah, stay around, be a still development guy. Why not?
Yeah.
Let me see that as well. He went on loan last year to, what was it, Grove Academy?
Yeah, he was playing some for them.
Yeah.
So I can see that. I can see that again happening. Wouldn't be mad at it. I think he did. Well, I think I watched him in 2 games. I think he did decent. So,
yeah.
But not bad. All right. Next, we got Mr. William Palmquist. What do you guys think about this one?
I think he probably goes try to find somewhere else to play.
Yeah, tries to find somewhere else for playing time.
I think he stays. I'm going to go with Dan. And I think I'll go out on a limb and say he'll play 5 games next year.
All right.
I can see that. All right. After this, we got Mr. Akira Fitzgerald. What do you guys think here?
Yeah, if he wants to keep playing, he'll be back. That's, I think, the only question is, does he want to keep going?
Yeah.
Yeah, same. I think.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think he'll always be back. But will he be back as a full-time coach, or will he be back as a coach player again? Because I can see him just coming back and just taking the goalkeeper coach position full time and not playing. But
no, I mean, I think he'll transition himself out, not just go cold turkey.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think.
I think he's gonna stay.
All right.
Play probably a little bit fewer games. Yeah.
All right. We got Dakota. I'm personally leaning more to stepping away, just because
Yeah.
the lawyer thing, which is not
Yeah.
bad. Like, I don't blame him for it, but I think like if there's a way to be like, hey, I got the regular season, I'm back home, I got a good job here, let me transition. This might be the point to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably right. I think Hart wants to stay, but I think probably somewhat not on the roster next year. I don't know if he's going to hang it up or bounce around some more since he's been pretty nomadic.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's only 27 too. He's only 27, so he's not like older. So it's kind of like in that weird.
But he's in the point of figuring out what does he want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like at this point now, like you're either being like, all right, I'm fully committed, not fully committed, but you're like, all right, I'm doing this till I'm 32 in this type of way, or it's like, all right, I'm doing this now. Before it's
yeah. I wouldn't be stunned if he's back, but I'm going to go with no.
Yeah, this ain't going to be either. Jalen, what do we have here?
Going yes, I think he's going to be one of those, kind of next generation cornerstone guys for this team.
Yeah, I can see him staying. I'll be shocked if he leaves, but I can understand it. But I feel like we could do enough to get Lindsay to convince him to stay. So yeah.
Right. I'm glad you've come around to recognizing the real angles to play with getting guys to stick around, and that's through the significant other family side of things. And
yeah, Lindsay, just let us know whatever you need us to do to get Jalen to stay. We'll do it. Whatever you need, we are here to commit to this process. Nathan Ani, what we got here? I can see Nathan staying.
I was about to say I can see him staying. I can see him thinking, I want to redo.
Yeah, I think he's going to be whatever Dakota isn't.
Yeah.
And honestly, if he does leave, I can see him going somewhere like One Knox, Lexington, North Carolina.
One of the expansions.
Well, I mean, somewhere to wait it out a year before Spokane comes in, where you've got to think that he would be a prime candidate.
Oh, you know what? Honestly, I think that's why he stays. He'll stay and wait 1 year and then go to Spokane. I can see him doing that.
So, what I haven't bothered to, look up and research, where's his girl from?
That is a good point. That's a very good point.
That's another one we need to throw out there.
Yeah, so we just need to work on our our stalking.
Significant others. Significant other persuasion.
Yeah, that's other ones we need to look at.
Yeah, next thing I know, when tons of let's be real, guys are sliding in their DMs. Not for that reason. Be like, hey, you want to stay around in town? You want to stick around in town?
Like, we're not trying to talk to you. We're just trying to figure out what do we need to do to get you to stay,
and get you to convince him to stay.
Yeah, I don't care about you like that, but your man though, like what I see there.
I like it. You got a good. That boy can hit a ball there. You can hit a ball. Need him.
Exactly.
Be the most awkward conversation. Like, hey, babe, why are all these Richard fans in my DM asking me whether or not you're going to stay? And all these just like, oh, guess I got to stay.
Exactly.
There you go. That's how we do it. All right. So we move on to the starting left back, Mr. Stuart Ritchie. I personally have him leaving.
I think he does one more year.
You think so? Think one more?
I don't know. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah, I think he does one more year because I think the injury could have stalled him going.
I think he's probably close to 50-50. I would put him slightly on the return side. Let this be a year, next year where he can, really be, a lot more of a focal point. Second year of actually getting consistent professional minutes. He's still young. He's still only 21 himself.
Yeah.
So he's.
No, I think he's only 20. I think he's only 20.
Whatever. 2021 doesn't really matter. But he has time to be able to get those minutes and develop. And I think getting that second full year, you've been able to see how that second year has helped a young guy like Ethan Bryant. Has been able to see how Bolaños has developed over time. With Darren, I think that can be a benefit.
Yeah, I think he leaves if a big offer comes in. So I don't think like League One, but I'm saying like upper tier championship team, so like a Louisville, Tampa. I'll throw
West Coast is scary because he's a West Coast kid.
Yeah, or like an MLS team comes in and be like, "Hey,"
I don't think that's happening. Maybe, I guess the big question is like the next pro teams, like how
that's what I'm saying. Like someone throws that kind
of how that system works out. Yeah.
All right. So we're split on that.
Hey, like a situation where like Micheletto walked into was like you play for the crew for the year, then we move you up to the first team. I can see that.
Yeah.
All
right. Next.
I wouldn't be shocked if he stays or leaves. Chris Cole. What do we have here?
I don't think he's going to be back.
No.
I don't think so either. I think the knocked in a year and the lack of playing time. I can see a move on here. And I mean, look, in his time when he did play, hey, he did a good job. He did his job.
Yeah. I mean, none of this is judgments on any of the guys. It's just our guessing what the roster is going to look like.
Yeah, no.
Well, like some past years where it's definitely been a get out kind of scenario. I don't think there are any guys on that level this year.
Oh no, not at all. I've only had one player I was like get out, and that's because he didn't have any assists at all.
I've had a few over the years.
Yeah, true. But how do you play fullback and don't contribute at all offensively?
Okay, we get it.
Sorry. Thank you. Because I was. We move on.
He was about to go on a rant.
Stephen Payne.
What did you say?
Next guy, Stephen Payne. I got him as leaving.
Yeah, I think he's going to get snapped
up. Unfortunately, yeah. He's going to get snatched up.
And look, it's not a bad thing. Like I think we talked about last year about how if Darren can show the players like, hey, you come to Richmond for a year, 2 years, ball out, like we're willing to let you move on.
Yeah.
And I think Payne's is the prime definition of that. Things didn't work out too well in Europe, comes here to Richmond, balls out. Hey, if a good deal comes through, and look, his team Birmingham needs a right back. I'm just saying, he's from Birmingham. Back up that big Brinks truck. Or we'll take cash out. Either way works. just funnel us the money.
Yeah.
All right, we move on to the midfield, Mr. Neil Vignoles.
I mean, just got a couple guys there.
What about Fitch?
Yeah.
Did I say Fitch? I totally forgot about Fitch. My fault. I'm looking on Transfer Mark, so Transfer Mark didn't have Fitch. My fault.
Why are you not just on the roster page?
Because I pulled up the one that I already had pulled up. My bad. Simon Fitch. I forgot about him. Let's stop there. Defender. Stay or leave. I have him as staying. I don't think he's leaving anytime soon.
Yeah, I have him as staying too. And that's a good thing. Yeah. Hang on to him.
Yeah, same. Yeah, great utility guy, hometown element. Of course.
Are you going to get his jersey next year?
I don't know yet. Depends.
Yeah, you're getting his jersey next year. You're getting that jersey. All right.
We got a what's his name? Otavio.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't say no.
I can say yes because I think he's in the academy. So I'll say he stays. I think he sticks around.
What, he's in Richmond United?
I think that's the last I
Yeah.
saw him at. I know he was training with the first team, but I think
I mean, he was on the academy contract, but
yeah, he was on the academy contract. So, but what do you think, Shanair?
Yeah, I think he stays.
Okay, all right, it's not bad. Midfield, who we got? We got Mr. Neil Vignoles.
yeah, I think he's back. I think he gets the keys to the car next year.
Yeah, I can see him staying. I think his girlfriend is up here in this region, so I'm gonna start playing that angle, looking at it from that perspective.
Yep. Let's find out. Let's find her too. Be like, look,
Like, hey, I need to
Anthony,
talk to you
stay.
about this magician. All right, you know if he's staying or not. Yeah, I think I can see that, Matt. I think that's a good angle for Darren to play. Be like, hey, I'll give you the keys to the car next year and let you drive it. Do you think he'll still play about is kind of like that left center attacking mid, or does he move him more centrally and play him right underneath Emmy?
I mean, I think too many other factors come into
Yeah.
that to be able to say right now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mr. Zaka Moran. I got him in staying.
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't think he's going. I could see other people sniffing, but I think he's comfortable.
Yeah.
I think he's comfortable here in Richmond. I think he'll stay.
All right. Chenier, your boy, Mr. Vincenzo Candela.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think not enough playing time. Not enough. He didn't see the field enough. And he's not a developing player, because when you're a developing player, a young developing player, then yeah, you can understand not seeing the field a lot, and the time will come. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him, somewhere else.
Yeah, same. I mean, he's getting up there, in age. I feel like a complete fool saying up there. He's 28, but in USL League 1 years, that's getting up there on age. I could see him moving along. He's another nomad.
Yeah,
I'd be fine if he's back as long as he's okay with having the same role or even a little less.
Yeah, I can see him staying for one more. But I don't think his role increases much than what it is. It's like a super sub or a starter if Zaka gets
yellowed out.
His yellow card accumulation that he's always going to get. So yeah, I think that. Matt Baldock. I think Maddie's out at the end of this year.
Yeah, I think he's going. I don't know.
It's pretty easy to read the tea leaves on that one.
Yeah.
And and for him to to get the 100 caps this year, for everything he's done and whatnot, I think it's time for him to go on to different pastures, try something else different.
Yeah, I mean, last connection back to the, the old years and everything.
Yep.
He's been a great servant to the team, but like I said, I think it's not the hardest thing in the world to read the tea leaves with how the second half of the year went.
Yeah, no. Do you think he stays in League One, or do you think he'll go like Nisa or something?
I wouldn't be surprised if he hangs it up.
Okay.
Just moves on to coaching because, I mean, he's been in Richmond for 6 years now. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like all the stuff we've been joking about. I wouldn't be surprised if he's started considering putting down roots here, and maybe have already started doing that.
Yeah, maybe so. We got next up, Mr. Christian Molina. I have him as leaving.
Yeah. Molina.
He seems like a guy he seems like a Sam Solomon, like a guy that would thrive in like Nisa, but just League One is just a step up too high.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. Mr. Next up we got is Leonardo Baima. I have him as leaving as well.
Yeah, I can't see him being back unless they just really want to live in the States.
Yeah.
And I think the part of why he was, I think he just had the baby, and he didn't really get a lot of playing time. I want to say
He played the first half of the year once the kid.
It was like July.
Yeah, I mean, I think he played up until the kid was born, and then
yeah,
that's about it, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
I don't know if maybe lack of sleep made him have a dip in form. I can to that. But
Gordon and Bentley was doing so well as the because I think he lost playing time is the same time when EVD came into the team.
Yes.
And Bentley and Gordon was already doing so well, and if we knew that the only thing that Baima can really do was with his left foot, I'm pretty sure this team saw it, and he doesn't have the versatility. So
yeah, Gordon coming in, Bolaños coming back, kind of took any spot that he would have had.
Yeah, so yeah. All right, we got Ethan Bryant. I got him as leaving. I think his top is way too high for him to stick around next year.
Yeah.
His performance this season has put him on a lot of people's radar, and that's going to be real tricky for us to hang on to him.
Yeah.
The Brinks truck, DC United. Just saying.
Whoever, all their money works the same.
Yeah, this is also true. I take cash, Venmo, PayPal.
How you gonna send our boy to that mess?
Because I know DC United will pay us a stupid amount. That's why. Because the organization.
Yeah, but how far will his career go at DC United with how crazy things have been?
DC's not this spend stupid money type of team. They're the don't spend money team.
Yeah, and they're a mess. Send him somewhere that's a little more organized, please. He deserves it.
Hey, New England. Ooh.
I could see welcoming him with open arms. Yeah, that would work. But
come talk to us, Crafts. Come on, let's have this conversation.
Come on, Riley. Come on, Robert. Come on, Bobby. Bobby, come on over.
Yeah. Next we got is Mr. Jonathan Bolaños. I got hit. Well, leaving.
There's no chance.
Yeah.
No chance that man stays. If I get a text that says Bolaños stays, either A, something has gone horribly wrong, and B, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yeah, I don't see us being able to hold on to Bolaños. He's quality, and he's turned a lot of heads this year.
He deserves that shot at the next level.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't see him going to another USL League One team. See him maybe going to USL Championship, most likely.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, next up we got is Mr. David Olsen.
Are you done with the midfielders?
I think he stays.
I think that's it. Well, yeah.
No.
Who else am I forgetting?
I mean, O'Dwyer, that's whatever, but
yeah, but he got him as a winger.
Kind of janky.
Bolaños is
O'Dwyer's a winger.
Oh, they got Wayne Gordon as a right winger here.
Yeah, I'm talking about Chandler O'Dwyer.
Oh, Chandler. Oh, Lord. Oh, he was next up after Gordon. My fault. Yeah, okay. Chandler. He's gone.
He's gone. Yeah.
I didn't mean to say this so dismissively. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, if it is what it is, I wouldn't recommend for him to stay. Like, if he has an opportunity to go, he should.
I don't know. I got the weird feeling that he's going to be like the deeper bench guy who comes back and starts getting some minutes. That's based on nothing at all.
No.
To be honest with you, I see that with Olsen more than I see that with Dwyer.
I don't see that with Olsen. Olsen's 26. I'm just thinking age, like at that point.
Yeah.
And the fact that he got no minutes really in meaningful games. Like a lot of times he didn't even make the bench. So it just makes you wonder, like, all right, he's not there. Oh, what? Dwyer. Now that you said it, man, I can see him sticking around. I can see it. So yeah, maybe I'll change it around to sticks around. But I think he can possibly might go on loan. Like he might go to Grove or somewhere. Or Lionsbridge and might get like a couple of games there if there's a connection there. All right, so this is what I got left.
We'll call you out if you forget somebody. Don't worry.
You probably will. All right, David Olsen.
I mean, if he was going to do anything, he would have seen the field more this year.
Yeah. Do you think it's another case of like a Sam Solomon, like goes to Nisa and scores a couple of goals?
I mean, I think he's better than that. But
okay.
I don't
he's
know.
from that Seattle region, so
of course he's a daring guy. Half the team's from Washington State.
Sticks around one more year and then tries to go into that Spokane team, maybe.
Might not fit the age profile at that point, but
yeah,
I don't think it's going to be here.
Or I mean, he did well in the U.S. Open Cup. I don't want to make it seem he didn't do anything, but it's hard to get on the field given there was no spot for him to really get minutes at.
Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, God. Now that I'm thinking about it, that's a lot harder to call than what I originally thought it would be. Yeah, okay. Wayne Gordon, or as I like to call him, Gordon, the Irish Jamaican.
The Irish Jamaican.
We got here. I think he stays around one more.
He might. He what?
I think he stays around one more.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, I think he's gonna give us one more.
Yeah, I think he's gone.
You think so?
I love it.
His retirement, or do you think it's?
I think he's a guy who just can move on to the next one, somewhere. I would happily have him back. I just don't think he will be.
Yeah. I mean, hey, he did great for us. Like he was a big upgrade.
Oh, no doubt. Like I said,
he was the ultimate super sub for us.
Yeah, my gut just says he's not here.
Yeah. All right. I'll save that one for last. We'll move on to Mr. Matt Bentley. I got him at staying.
Yep.
I
think he's taking at least for one more year.
Do you guys think he becomes the new, not centerpiece, but the new shiny jewel? Kind of taking that Bolaño spot?
I think there's potential there. He's not the same type of player, so it wouldn't be that.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think so.
But I think he.
He.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say he seems more like EVD style of player, like get physical, rough up a fleck type of player, while Bolaños was.
Or he just fell off again.
Oh God!
Also, I realized we forgot another midfielder.
Who?
Zev.
Oh God!
That's a no for me.
Yeah. If he stays, I can see he just as a practice squad player.
Right. I mean, yeah, if he wants to get on the coaching staff, that way as like a third assistant or whatever.
Now, I will say this. It is smart to keep Zev around because he has ties to the college community. So I will say that. It will be smart.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big whatever to me, though.
Right.
All right. So, yeah, but Bentley, I think, has got a lot of potential to be able to fill in the gaps for next year.
Okay.
and hopefully level up.
All right. All right. Yeah, I think he will too. I think he'll take that next step. God, did really good this year. All right, the guy that we know got injured, Mr. Ethan Vandercourt Decker.
I don't think he's going to be on the roster at the beginning of the year. Maybe he's pops back by the end of the year if his injury has him ready to go by like July, August. But
Yeah.
I think he misses all of next year, and he's already 20. God, I think he retires. And there's nothing against him. I'm just thinking like the Achilles injury itself takes a year to come back from. He's going to miss all of next year with that. Like, do you really come back at 29 trying to play third division soccer? Like, is it worth it at that point?
Well, that's why I think he makes a run at it to see if he can be able to do it for at the end of next year. Be another late season signing.
Okay. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, start of the year. Start of the year. Clearly, obviously, no.
Yeah. But to see if he can go out on his own terms, maybe so. All right, yeah, I can see that. My boy, Mr. Luke Pavone. What you guys think about this one?
It's a tough one, actually.
I think he stays.
I think he stays.
I think he stays.
Because he got a lot more playing time down the end of the year than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I think
he got some. I mean, heart wants me to say yes. Head makes me wonder. I think if he's okay being a fringe bench guy, in the stands guy, sure. But I got to think that those winger spots are going to be a prime commodity, in the off-season market. Because I mean, if you're a free agent, you're looking at an opportunity. Darren highlights those spots. Why wouldn't you want that chance? And we love Luke, but we also, I think, can be realistic and know he's a limited player at this level. So, would you want to go into the season with him being a top 4 winger on the roster? I don't know.
No, but I mean, he is I think he stays around just as a locker room guy. He's a great
I'm
locker
fine with that.
And I also think that I know he does a lot with Grove Academy, so I think he sticks around for that reason as well.
Yeah.
All right. Last but not least, Mr. Emiliano Terzaghi.
Ooh.
Now, I know I mentioned it last week, like, what if, like, there's really nothing else for him to prove. And does he want to try that next stage? But then also, like, age is a factor, and he has a family here. So that all plays into it.
I think
it's interesting. It makes you think a little bit.
I think he stays for one more year. I think he stays for one more year.
I'll go further. I think he stays for more than one more year. I think after a career of just moving around in Argentina, constantly, we saw in the documentary, right? He was ready to walk away from the game until this opportunity came up. I don't know this for a fact, but my guess is that he might value the stability that Richmond brings to him. His daughter's been growing up. She's got to be, if not starting school already, very close to starting school. Like, from all of her memories, Richmond may very well be home. So setting some of those things up. And we've talked about it. He's not getting younger. Yeah, he could probably go somewhere for a couple few years, but I wouldn't be stunned if they decide, hey, this is home right now. I mean, you got to think that, barring just a stupid number coming out, that the team will do what they can to keep him here. So I'm going to go yes.
Yeah, I think he stays.
I'm not gonna lie, I battle with this one just because of the fact of like I can't deny it. Like if someone in a championship, say like Miami, tries to call his name and they offer him some money, I can't be mad if he decides to leave. He's done everything in League One, but I can also see him staying.
Yeah, I don't think
for
anybody's
the
going to be
next
mad at
2 3
him,
years.
if he, goes up a level or so. I don't think that's, the issue. And that's nothing to, whether he stays or not, I don't think it has anything to do with his capability. I think it has everything to do with the off the field factors.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think it's off the field. I think it's up to him. So I mean, yeah, if he stays for the next 2 3 years. I think
Yeah, I
Chris
would
was
agree with
trying to another multi-year deal and just
Yeah, I mean, it's all or nothing this offseason with him.
yeah, honestly. All right, and that's everybody on the roster. Did I forget anyone else? I hope I didn't.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't think so.
good. All right, so we got that now. So now we move on to areas to address. What areas should we address, guys?
Yeah, I think on the field, the only, I think getting a midfield depth.
Midfield depth. Okay.
Yeah, because I don't think Darren necessarily trusted the midfielders beyond the starting three.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that point as well. I think that's a good point. Getting some extra quality midfield depth. Shanair, what about you, man?
I would go with two things. First off, like you guys said, midfield depth. Second, wing diversity. What I mean by that is one of the kicker's biggest strengths and what shot us in the foot in the semifinal is our tendency to lean more towards counterattacking soccer. We don't want possession. We want to give you possession and catch you on the counter and kill you on the. We need a contingency in terms of the type of wingers in order to bring a different level of play when we end up in a situation where, okay, we have the ball now. So, for example, in the moment Chattanooga got a red card in the semifinal game, I think for most teams that would be an advantage. For the kickers, it was a disadvantage because now Chattanooga are giving us possession and trying to hang on for dear life and probably playing to penalties. And we're not very good at breaking a team down when they want to sit and bunker. And if we have a diversity of wingers, the diversity of players out in the wide spaces, some that are inverted wingers, some that prefer to cross, others that prefer to cut inside and create space for the overlap, others that prefer to cut inside earlier and get involved in the midfield attack. That is how you get yourself into a situation where you're okay, whether we have the ball or we don't have the ball, we have the weapons to create chances to score goals. So I think wing diversity is a big factor that we're going to need to kind of tweak and adjust and try and see if we can find personnel for next season to kind of create a complete team that can do it all.
Right. I don't think that's a bad answer right there. I don't think you can go wrong with that at all. All right. Last thing, guys, before we end our show, off-season dream. What is the one thing you want to see from the Kickers in this off-season that gets you prepared and ready for next year?
I think.
I'll let y'all go.
Yeah.
I
So
gotta think about this one.
I think for me, how much fun were the last 3 home games or so with the crowds packed in 5K plus, using those games. I think being able to get that season ticket sales, season ticket support for Chris and all those guys up there, so that way we you can have opening day, big crowd, and keep that momentum going, throughout the year. I don't expect it to be, close to a sellout every single game, but, being able to have that, consistent full feeling, in the stands where, there's lines at the men's room at halftime, and, they're bringing in extra food trucks, to handle concessions. I think that's my thing.
Okay. For me, I would go how local media treats this team in the off season. Because
like at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even more so about like in build up to the regular season. Like the Squirrels still get commercials played, even though this season ended a month ago. You still see their commercials being played. You still see them relatively being talked about. I want the Kickers to be in that same light as well. And I think it does goodwill. Like I think it's a positive thing when the Kickers kind of get talked about more than just, the obscure ESPN link that gets tweeted out 30 minutes before the interview. Or, the random, Washington Times Dispatch article that gets written or anything like that. Which, by the way, if you're looking for written content, you should check out rivercity93.com. We have great written articles. We're trying to write some post game, but they are hard to write. But yeah, I would love to just see, how the media handles this team, and that for all the good work this team has done in the last couple of months and years of rebuilding the identity of this Kickers team in the community. I think it's time for the media to kind of hold it their end and, properly cover and talk about these games.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the Kickers have been in Richmond long enough that it's about time. I mean, I understand that it's only fairly recently that soccer has had this massive uptake. I would say the late 2000s into the teens is when it really started to turn heads, and now with players like Pulisic abroad and McKennie and Tyler Adams and stuff like that, you're getting more of a following. You're getting more of awareness of the sport in the United States, and this is the opportunity for Richmond to toot their horn. This is a very old club. It's been around for a long time, and it's one of the few surviving clubs of the 90s that's not MLS. It's something to be proud of, and if the media can actually look at that and see that you can take that and run with it and actually make something of it until they do that, it's always going to be this thing. It's like, oh yeah, those Kickers over there, but this is the time. We're on a path of success. We just won the regular season. Literally, we've won most of the individual accolades at the end of the season: MVP, Golden Boot, Young Player of the Year, Manager of the Year. Jalen was a finalist and Defender of the Year. This is the time. This is the time for the media to get involved, to jump on the bandwagon and keep us pushing forward.
You're muted, dude.
Sorry about that, listeners. I forgot I muted my mic because I wanted to hear all the lovely words that Shanae was saying. Guys, I think this is it. I think this is our final show of the year. We have done to date 37 episodes this year. That's a lot of episodes, guys.
Yeah.
We've done good work.
Oh, we've done work.
Now it's time for us to enjoy the World Cup, not tweet about it, and let someone else complain about all the soccer and do podcasts about it, because we don't have to do that. As always, y'all, it's been a pleasure doing this show with y'all. I want to thank y'all two personally for taking time out of your busy weeks and doing the show with me, man. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun. I hope the listeners have enjoyed it and learned something new. I don't know about y'all, but I've had a few people walk up to me and be like, "Oh, hey, I know you from River City '93." It's kind of like that weird, awkward moment at first of like, "You listen to us," and then it's also like, "Oh, well, thank you."
Yeah.
Guys, any final thoughts before we wrap up our last show of the year?
No, because we've been talking for 100 minutes and it's after midnight.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. We're all tired here, folks. As always, we want to say thank you once again for taking the time of your day for listening to our show. Until next time, which is probably 5 months from now, to whenever the team starts doing roster updates. We'll talk to you then. Well, we're about to go to sleep now. Bye!